Athens, 399 BC. Socrates stands before a jury of 501 citizens. His crime? Asking too many questions, teaching people to think for themselves. The verdict? Death by poison. But what came next changed everything. Galileo, imprisoned for discovering truth. Tesla, dying broke while others profit from his genius. Turing, chemically castrated despite saving millions of lives. Why do the brightest minds meet the darkest ends? History's pattern is clear. Society doesn't punish deep thinkers for being wrong. It punishes them for being right too soon. If you've ever felt isolated by your intelligence, there's a reason. And it's not you. But the real reason is much more unsettling. Here's what's strange. Stand next to someone physically stronger, and you admire them. So why doesn't the same thing happen with intelligence? Meet someone wealthier, and you might envy them, but you don't feel personally attacked. But encounter someone intellectually superior. Suddenly, something shifts. But why? Your chest tightens. You feel exposed, defensive, maybe even hostile. This reaction isn't random. It's biological. Psychologists call this the mirror effect. A deep thinker doesn't just share ideas, they reflect someone's limitations back at them. And humans don't forgive mirrors easily. But here's the twist. This effect gets worse in groups. Studies at Stanford reveal something shocking. One-on-one, people feel curious around intellectuals. But in groups, threat levels spike. The amygdala, the fear center, lights up as if facing physical danger. So what is the brain really afraid of? Think about that. Your mind treats someone's intelligence like a predator. Why does intelligence, more than any other form of superiority, trigger this primal response? The answer lies deep in our evolutionary past. The answer lies in how we evolved. For 200,000 years, human survival didn't depend on being the smartest person in the tribe. It depended on being accepted by the tribe. And this one fact explains almost everything. Rejection meant isolation. Isolation meant death. Your ancestors' brains were wired for social harmony over individual brilliance. So what happens when brilliance disrupts harmony? When a deep thinker enters a room, they disrupt that harmony without saying a word. Their presence challenges beliefs, norms, and the invisible rules people cling to. The tribal brain doesn't see a fellow human. It sees a threat to stability, and the response to threats is always the same. This is why you can share shallow opinions freely, but the moment you introduce a complex, nuanced idea, the conversation dies. Blank stares, silence, a quick topic change. It's not the idea they fear. It's what comes with it. It's not rudeness. It's defense. 3 cognitive biases explain why. And each one stacks the deck against deep thinkers. The Dunning-Kruger effect. People with low ability overestimate their intelligence. Those with high ability doubt themselves. Guess who gets silenced in that equation? Status quo bias. The brain prefers familiar ideas over new, uncomfortable truths. Deep thinkers introduce disruption. Discomfort follows. Resistance builds. Comfort beats truth almost every time. The backfire effect. Challenge someone's beliefs and they don't rethink. They double down, which means the smarter you are, the more resistance you face. You've experienced this. You share a well-reasoned insight, and they cling harder to illusion. But the real breakdown begins in the next stage. Arthur Schopenhauer understood this brutally. While others praised intelligence, he called it a curse. But he meant that in a very specific way. The smarter you are, he argued, the more you'll struggle to connect with society. And the reason is painfully simple. Most people are driven by what he called the will to live, instinct chasing pleasure, comfort, and survival. They avoid difficult truths. But deep thinkers are wired differently. Deep thinkers develop the will to truth, a hunger for reality, even when it hurts, even when it isolates. This creates a divide that almost can't be crossed. Where most find meaning in small talk, status games, and weekend plans, deep thinkers see distractions from existential questions. They crave depth. Society offers superficiality. So what happens when depth meets shallowness? They value honesty. Society rewards polite deception. They seek understanding. Society prefers entertainment. Eventually, the two worlds collide. Schopenhauer wrote, "A high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial." Not because thinkers are arrogant, but because once you see human nature clearly, it becomes hard to join the illusion. And illusions are what keep society functioning. You see through the lies most people need to survive. But seeing truth has a cost. While physical strength or wealth can be celebrated, intelligence makes others feel inadequate just by existing. Your presence forces people to confront uncomfortable truths. And nothing triggers hostility faster. Most would rather resent you than face that mirror. And this leads directly to the crisis point. This isn't just ancient philosophy. It's your daily reality. And you've felt it more times than you can count. Look at social media. Who gets the attention? And who gets ignored? Not the intellectuals, the oversimplifiers, the feel-good soundbiters. Depth takes time. Viral content is instant, emotional, easy. So guess which one wins? Algorithms reward outrage, humor, simplicity, not truth. Truth loses before it even starts. The most viral content is simple, catchy, and often misleading. The more intellectual you are, the harder it becomes to compress deep ideas into bite-sized posts. This is why deep thinkers feel invisible. This rejection starts early. Schools claim to value intelligence, but reward obedience. And that shapes everything that follows. Students who memorize succeed. Those who question are labeled troublemakers. And many never recover from that label. At work, corporations don't promote the most intelligent. They promote those who fit the culture. Truth-tellers become threats. In politics, leaders who make logical but unpopular statements lose to those who tell people what they want to hear. The system rewards comfort, not accuracy. Society doesn't want intelligence. It wants comfort, predictability, confirmation. And this next pattern proves it. Every intellectual breakthrough in history was initially rejected. Every single one. Galileo, imprisoned for truth. Van Gogh, dying in poverty before the world finally saw him. Tesla, forgotten until it was too late. Nietzsche, dismissed as insane until his ideas shaped the modern world. Their ideas were only celebrated when they were safe, when they no longer threatened the status quo. And you're living the same story now. But here's the part nobody tells you. History also teaches this. You're in extraordinary company. More extraordinary than you realize. Hypatia of Alexandria, philosopher, mathematician, astronomer, murdered for thinking too clearly. Clarity has always been dangerous. Nietzsche, too unsettling for his time, essential for ours. His fate wasn't an exception, it was the rule. Alan Turing broke Nazi codes, saved millions, and built the foundation for modern computing. And what did society do in return? Persecution, chemical castration, death at 41. Recognition came decades too late. Einstein's theories were mocked, impossible, absurd. Until they became physics itself. Brilliant mind emerges. Society rejects them. History vindicates them. This cycle has never failed. They weren't wrong. They were early. and so are you. If you feel misunderstood, you're not broken. You're simply ahead of your time. Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see. You're hitting a target others don't even know exists. So what do you do with this mind of yours? 3 strategies can change everything. Embrace solitude as power. Solitude is not a weakness. Loneliness is unwanted isolation. Solitude is chosen space. Deep thinkers need the latter to survive. Use solitude for reading, creating, thinking without performance. Your best work happens in quiet. Find your tribe. Not many, just the right few. One real connection outweighs 1,000 shallow ones. Deep thinkers only need a handful. History's thinkers found each other across centuries. You can too, more easily than ever. The internet gives you more access to like-minded minds than any generation before you. Use it wisely. Learn strategic communication. It's how truth survives. Great thinkers translate complexity without weakening it. This is your leverage. Guide people gradually. Start where they are. Deep truths require deep patience. Not because you're hiding, because you're being strategic. Just like every great thinker before you. Remember Athens. Socrates had a choice: escape or drink the poison. His decision still echoes today. He chose poison. The unexamined life is not worth living. He wasn't killed for being wrong. He was killed because the world wasn't ready. But Plato wrote everything down. The ideas survived. Socrates lost his life, but won the future. You're part of that lineage. When you think deeply while others scroll mindlessly, you're Socrates. When you question what everyone accepts, you're Galileo. When you choose truth over comfort, you're Schopenhauer. Society may fear you, resist you, misunderstand you. But society has always needed deep thinkers. Every advancement in human civilization came from minds like yours. And the next one will too. It came from someone who refused to accept. That's how it's always been. Someone like you. If you've ever felt alone in your thoughts, you're not broken. You're awake in a sleeping world. Society may fear deep thinkers, but it's deep thinkers who move humanity forward. So where will your mind take us next? Share your experience in the comments. Have you faced rejection for thinking deeply? You're not alone here. And if you want more insights from history's greatest minds, subscribe. The journey is just beginning.